Today we're going to be sweet curing bacon. So if you've ever liked maple cured bacon, treacle cured bacon, stick around. Hello, welcome to English Country Life and welcome to the kitchen. Welcome to the 5th part in a 4-part series on bacon curing. It's not big heavy tutorials today, to be honest, and if you haven't seen our series on bacon curing, I would advise, if you're interested in bacon curing, start there first. I'll put a link somewhere up here. But today we're going to do a few different things. So it's more a question of, do you want to sit in the chair in the corner of the kitchen? We'll have a bit of a chat and I'm going to show some sweet curing of bacon. I'm going to show maple cure. I'm going to show black treacle cure. I'm going to take the rind off, which we haven't shown before, on some of the bacon that we cure. I can't take it all off because Fiona would kill me. She loves rind on bacon. But a little bit later, a courier is going to bring me a load of about 16 pounds of pork loin, pork belly from the wonderful Martha Roberts, who operates The Decent Company. And if you haven't tried their pork, www.thedecentcompany.co.uk. Amazing stuff. Really, really high welfare, rare breed, very reasonably priced, outstanding pork. Can't recommend them highly enough. Not getting paid to say that. I've just used them for a while now, and really we think Martha's pork is the best we've ever tried, and her sausages are incredible. Can't recommend them highly enough. So first things first, I need to make up some more cure. Now, because I'm going to use lots of different types of sweetening agents and different spices, what I'm going to do first is just make up a cure that's salt and saltpetre, and then we can add different other ingredients to the different bacon cures. First things first then, I'm going to put a kilo of table salt and just 8 grams of saltpetre into my blender. Now you don't need to use a blender, I just use that to mix the two powders well. As we've discussed previously, if you don't want to use saltpetre, don't use it. I do. I think it helps in the curing process, but I understand there are health concerns with it, so if it's not your bag, feel free to leave out the saltpetre. What we need first then, kilo of good dry table salt. Spot on, look at that, 1,000 grams exactly. Now, on top of that, we want just 8 grams of saltpetre. That's 4. And that's 8. So that's my kilo of unsweetened bacon cure, safe in a jar. Always worth labelling your jars. I've got jars of saltpetre, I've got jars of salt, I've got jars of sugar, I've got jars of mixed bacon cure, and they're all white powders. If I can't tell what they are, there's going to be some disastrous mistakes. In one of these recipes, I'm going to want to use some ground pepper. Now, the easy way, of course, is just to use black ground pepper, but I have both pink and green peppercorns as well as black. And I think they add a depth of flavour that black alone lacks. So we will have some black peppercorns. And we'll have some pink pepper. Look at the colour alone. And we're gonna have some green peppercorns as well. I wish I could let you smell that mix. The subtleties of the smells and aromas coming off that are incredible. There it is. Come and have a look. This is how the parcel arrives from The Decent Company. Really, look, amazing quality. All beautifully insulated, and the only way I can demonstrate the insulation is to wrap these frozen, hard frozen cool packs, and the meat is beautifully chilled, every bit as good as it would be in a fridge. So what have we got here? Well, lots and lots of Martha's sausages. Absolutely the best there is. This, look at it, look, that's pork belly. Look at the quality of that butt. Look at this. That is an entire loin of pork. How wonderful does that look? Doesn't that make your mouth water before we even start on the cure? And over here, that's leaf fat. And the leaf fat makes this beautiful snowy white lard, brilliant for cooking, fabulous for soap making. We've got a video on that, and I do recommend go and have a look if you've never made lard. It's a lot easier than you might think, and it's a wonderful, sustainable fat that we should be using more of. Look at that pork belly, isn't that fabulous? Unbelievable quality, but too big to fit into even the largest of my curing boxes. So what I'm going to do is divide it in two and cure it that way, and I'll use two different cures to do that. Trimmed a few odd corners off, but I'll still cure them and they'll make beautiful stir fries. So we have a smaller piece and a larger piece. Next job is to weigh them. We'll work out how much cure we need. This is the small piece of pork belly. It's a kilo, almost exactly. And I'm going to de-rind that because I want to try a new cure on it. And I'm going to de-rind it using a new knife to me. And this is a curved Victorinox boning knife, not expensive. And I've seen Frosty the Butcher and Scott Ray use similar knives, and the shape, I think, lends itself to the sweeping cuts you need to take a rind off. And if you haven't, by the way, followed Scott Ray on YouTube, please do if you're at all interested in working with meat. The guy is not only a brilliant butcher, but he does brilliant videos that show you how to do it and give you confidence to try things yourself. So, next step, let's get that rind off. There we go, rind off. I'm not wasting that rind. Trust me, Fiona would kill me. I'll show you what we do with that a little bit later. What we have here then is 75 grams of cure, some mixed pink, green and black pepper, and here I have black treacle just warming in a bowl with some hot water in the bottom to make it a bit more runny. And I can add half as much again by weight. And what you find quite quickly is the dessert spoon is roughly 20 grams. So we'll have two and we'll give all of that a really good mix. This isn't a precise recipe at the end of the day. What we're looking for though is a nice thick paste to smear onto that wonderful pork belly. You see how it thickens up? So this is almost going to be sticky when we've finished, and that's what's going to keep the cure on the meat. Look at that. Thoroughly mixed. Best way to put it on, back of a spoon or a knife. Take a look at that. Black treacle cure. That's going to penetrate deeply into the meat. It's going to be sweet. It's going to have a little bit of a salty kick. There's that black pepper to give it dark notes. It's only an inch thick, so it'll cure in 4 days. 2 days plus 2 days per inch of thickness. That'll cure your bacon perfectly. Turn it every day. I am going to label it because we're trying lots of different cures, and I think it's quite important that you can work out what's what and work out which ones you like best. This is our large piece of belly, and this is going to get our normal dry cure mix. We'll put that on really well, rub it into the flesh. Again, we'll cure it for 4 days, and then it will go into the smoker for 24 hours. That's the pork loin. I mean, look at the quality of that. It's just incredible. So big, it doesn't fit on my largest chopping board. And honestly, I cannot stress enough that Martha's delivered this meat to us in tip-top condition, cut the way I want it cut. I want to cure whole loins and whole pork bellies. I don't want to mess about with little fiddly bits of supermarket meat. And with the sausages, with the delivery, it's still cheaper than buying from a supermarket for this incredibly high welfare food. You simply can't go wrong. I'm going to cut this in half now, because honestly, there is no way that'll fit widthwise across a standard fridge. So that piece of loin is about 2 kilos. So we're going to need 150 grams of cure, plus spices, plus maple syrup. Spices I think I'm going to use this time. I don't know why, but something is calling to me about maple syrup and cinnamon. I think it's got a nice wintry feel to it. So that's what we're going to have. Sometimes you've got to experiment, haven't you? So, there we go. Plenty of cinnamon. I love the taste of cinnamon. Can't really go wrong. I'm going to try a slightly different way of applying the cure this time. So, I'm going to sprinkle it on, rub it in well, and then I'm going to put the syrup on top so that it forms a paste. Rather than making the paste and then rubbing the paste in, I'm just trying different ways to see what we think is going to give us the best finish. And it's going to run because it's much thinner than treacle, but with the aid of the back of a spoon, I think that's the way to go. I think that's going to work really well. We worked just enough maple syrup on to turn the cure into a thick paste that really works its way into all those crevices and stays adhered to the meat. I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this turns out. There we are, in the curing box. It'll get turned every day, and we've labelled it just so that we can tell whether it's rind on, rind off, back, streaky, and what cure we've used. Well, it's easy enough to see why we have to have an extra fridge for meat curing, isn't it? But it does make life more convenient to keep it all in one place. And this is what's going to happen with the rind that I've removed. It's going into the essie to be roasted and turned into pork scratchings. Look at that. Here we are, day 2. Let's have a look. I think the most important thing to notice here is the amount of liquid sloshing around. I'm going to pour that off because I need a dry cure for this recipe. That's what I'm looking to achieve. Now, it isn't, if you don't pour it off. It isn't going to make this into a wet cure. What you've got is a very concentrated brine on the outside that will, through osmosis, continue to draw internal liquid out of the bacon. So it's not something to say that you must pour it off. Indeed, many cure books say not to, but it all depends on the finish you're looking for. The other thing to notice is here, can you see there is still cure on top of the bacon? So there's no need to add more cure. All that's going to do is make it over salty. So if there's still visible cure on your bacon, don't add more. So what I'm going to do now is pour off that liquid, turn the bacon over so it's resting face down, let it go another 24 hours. Again, on the fat side, the skin side of the meat, although we've derinded this bacon so there's actually no skin present, you can see there's loads of cure left. And this is why I usually advise people to put sort of 80% of the cure on the flesh side, because it's much more easily absorbed there. And you can see that a lot of the cure on the skin side really hasn't done much at all. It will gradually, over the course of a few days, work its way in. Worth looking at our traditional dry cure as well, just to observe the difference. Again, you can see plenty of cure left on the flesh, but look at the amount of liquid that is sloshing in there. A really good dry cure without all the treacle and maple syrup does do an amazingly effective job at drawing out liquid more quickly. Now, again, both will cure effectively and they will give a different finish to the meat. So I do encourage people to try different approaches and see what you like best. The streaky bacon's had all the time it needs, just 4 days. The rule is 2 days plus 2 days per inch of thickness, and the streaky is only 1 inch thick. What we've got to do today, wash off any cure that's left unused and hang the bacon for a few days to age and to develop a pellicle. We explained that in the earlier bacon curing video, but it's a membrane that sits on the surface of the bacon. So let's get on with that. As you can see, the bacon's taken on a lovely colour in this black treacle. What we need to do is get rid of all that liquid that's been drawn from the bacon and give it a good rinse. And there's our black bacon hanging in a 5-gallon bucket. Obviously we'll put a lid on and we'll leave that now to age and dry and form its pellicle. This is our traditional treacle cured black bacon. And again, I'd like you to see the pellicle that's formed on the surface, the shininess of that. And that comes from the dry aging forming a membrane over the top. Next step is to smoke that. This is the kit to build a cold smoker. Some dry sawdust, cold smoke generator, just a mesh spiral. You get glowing at one end with an ember and the ember burns its way around the spiral, releasing smoke. Something heat-proof for that cold smoke generator to sit on. Cardboard box for it to sit in that contains the smoke. A metal shelf for the meat to sit on. And a couple of bits of bamboo for the shelf to sit on. That's it. Hole in the bottom to get some air into the box. Holes in the top just for the rods to go through. Push the rods all the way through so they sit in the holes. Ultimately, that's all you've got. Tile in the bottom, wire shelf on a couple of bits of bamboo. We'll light the cold smoke generator, drop it into the bottom, put the bacon on the shelf. That'll smoke the bacon. That's a couple of more adventurous cures, if you like, if you want to try on your bacon making, and they really were worth it. That molasses cure, the black bacon, is wonderful. It's not black all the way through when you slice it, but it's got a subtlety and a depth of flavour that's wonderful. The maple cinnamon, brilliant flavour combination, worked well. So, well worth trying some of these slightly less usual cures when you get into bacon making. If you're enjoying this kind of content, can you spare us 5 seconds? Give us a thumbs up down below. If you can leave us a comment, that's even better. Makes a huge difference to the channel. But whatever you do, come back and see us soon. Take care.